I'm Frank and Shi. Welcome back to Thai PBS World. This year marks the 340th anniversary of the first contact between Siam and France, symbolizing long-lasting relations between two countries. Joining me now is the ambassador of France to Thailand, Jean-Claude Poimbeuf, to give us insight about Thailand and France relations. Thank you for your time, the ambassador.
My pleasure, and welcome to the French resident.
The first one, of course, we have to talk about how does the Embassy of France really commemorate the very important year 2025 and 2026 throughout this 2 year ahead?
Yeah, you're right to mention that it's not only 1 year, but it's 2 years. As you said, this year we are commemorating the 340th anniversary of the first French diplomatic mission to Siam. It's not the first contact because they had some contacts previously.
Right.
There was a Siamese mission going to Versailles 1 year before that, but 340 years ago it was the first diplomatic mission led by Chevalier de Chaumont, who went to Ayutthaya and Lopburi to present his respect to King Narai. So it's a very symbolic commemoration, and next year, 2026, it will be the 170th anniversary of the establishment of our diplomatic relations in modern times. And we are here at the French residence, and you may be interested to know that we have been in this house since the very beginning. The house looked a bit different then, but it's the same place we've been for 170 years. So these are 2 consecutive years of commemorations. We've done similar commemorations, of course, in the past. This is not the first time, but we want to take advantage of these 2 years, of course, to highlight our past achievements, and there are many over a period of 340 years, but also to showcase what Thailand-France relations now in a very dynamic phase, and also, of course, to talk about the future. So it happens that we had a ceremony at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to launch a logo which was specifically created for the occasion. It was a contest that we organized jointly, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the French Embassy. We had about 40 candidates, and we had to choose one. So I think it encompasses quite well the message that we want to give with 2 iconic buildings, Wat Arun for Bangkok, the Eiffel Tower for France, and the 2 figures, 340, 170. So we have a logo, and now we have to have activities and a program. So we have worked already on what we will be doing all year round in 2025, with a lot of cultural activities. Only tonight, after our interview, we are launching a book which is a research that was made by a French academic, but one of my predecessors who was here from 1912 to 1915, who wrote his travel diaries when he traveled around Siam and Burma. So it's a very interesting book now to understand what were those 2 countries in those days, and what were the vision also of a French diplomat who was also himself a kind of academic. So this is just the start, the very first activity, and later in the year we will have shows, exhibitions, seminars, economic events in the whole spectrum of the French-Thai relations. And of course, I was in Paris last week, and I talked to my Thai counterpart, Ambassador Saran, and he's also working on events that will be presented by Thailand to the French public also in 2025 and 2026. So every year we have a lot of things going on, but we will have more and maybe with a bigger visibility.
Yeah, very big scale there actually. And you talk about actually the cultural collaboration, no matter it's in culture, in politics, two countries really linked together. No matter you talk about the local, actually I watched that, that event too. So we can see two countries really combined together with the Warun and the unveils there together. So just want to understand, of course, you talk about the, you met your counterpart in Paris, actually. Yes. What specific initiative that actually, since you joined, since you became the ambassador to Thailand, so what kind of achievement have you done there, and what's the specific initiative in the near future coming? Is there any achievement that you can tell us about?
Yes. Well, maybe the first thing I should say is that when a new ambassador comes, it's not like nothing happened before him or her. So I'm lucky that my predecessors have done also a good job, and my immediate predecessor, Ambassador Matou, he was here when President Macron came to Thailand in November 2022. He was invited by the Thai chair of APEC, and he made a quite successful visit then. My predecessor also launched what we called the France-Thailand Year of Innovation in 2023 to highlight that our two countries are not only big tourist destinations or big cultural countries, but also lands of science, innovation, research. And there were ministerial visits during that year, higher education, trade. So when I arrived in September 2023, I found an already quite dynamic relations. And what I'm especially happy about is that last year we managed to have not only one but two visits by the Thai Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Seta Thavisin, and that of course built on the momentum which was created in 2022, 2023, but having on the same year, in March and then in May, only a few weeks later, 2 visits by the Prime Minister to France, and each time he had a meeting with President Macron. That gives the direction for both ambassadors, my Thai counterpart in Paris, but also myself here in Bangkok. And the most important thing is that our leaders agreed to work on a strategic partnership that would be the follow-up of a roadmap that was signed in 2022 for 3 years. So now we have to work on a new action plan, and the idea is to elevate the status of our relation to go towards a strategic partnership. What does it mean? It means that beyond what we do on a daily basis, we have to think in more strategic terms, in terms of policy dialogue, security dialogue, projects that we can do together which have an impact on the long term, and engage our two countries on long-term cooperation. So this is what we are working on at the moment. You mentioned earlier that we had consultations, both sides in Paris last week, and we very much discussed about this strategic partnership that we have to work on. So it's all on the track, and I would consider that as a major achievement. If we can actually use also these 2 years of commemorations to elevate the relation to that status.
Does that action plan also include, of course, political consultation,
sure,
and democratic development in Thailand, both in France and in Thailand? And in that discussion of past discussions, have you talked about kind of how to push democratic development in Thailand too? Have you talked about it?
That is always part of our bilateral dialogue. You may know that France supported Thailand's election to the Human Rights Council in Geneva because we think it is a good opportunity also for Thailand to do its part on important values that we share. So we were quite supportive. We know that it comes also with added responsibilities. When you are a member of the council, it means that you really have to promote certain values. We also are supportive of Thailand's application to become a member of OECD. Being a member of OECD means that you also get closer to a number of standards that we, of course, support. So, of course, we discuss all this with Thailand.
So how about the collaboration on technology? Because, of course, this is one of the strengths of France and aviation too, of course. Is there any discussion or even kind of like collaboration for education is the strong part, aviation is the strong part, and technology too? Have you talked about it for further collaboration in the future?
Yes, I mentioned this year of innovation that we had in 2023. That was very much the core of the message, and we have a ongoing cooperation with Thailand in the aviation industry. Airbus is quite strong here. It could be even stronger, depending on the Thai side. Not only in the aviation, but also the space industry. You may know that we have provided a number of satellites to Thailand, and we are very much willing to go further in terms of aviation. We see that there are also new areas coming that will be important for the future, like artificial intelligence. We are hosting a summit in France next month, and we hope that Thailand will be represented at a high level and play its part. So yes, we want more cooperation in the science, in the innovation. We would also like to welcome more Thai students to France. France is, frankly speaking, not the first destination that Thai students think about when they want to further their studies. They rather go to English-speaking countries. We understand that very well. So they go to the US, to the UK, to Australia, or to countries in the region. And we have about 500 to 600 students from Thailand in France. We think that the potential is bigger. You don't have to study in French, when you are in France. You can also study in English. We have good programs for engineers or in the business, Master of Business Administration, MBAs. So this is also something that we have to work more on, welcoming more Thai students in France. But we could also have more French students coming here to this country to study the language, the culture, and so there's a much more potential for student mobility between the two countries, and this is also one of my top priorities during my mandate.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting part or attractive parts of French education is because I have that impression too, that when we really started in France, we really feel that different vibes of maybe critical thinking, independent study there is very important, rather than in Asia, it's totally different. So this is one of the strengths of France. One of the part that I want to ask is about, actually you just say that you have deep engagement with two Prime Minister of Thailand, actually, Srettha Singh, and of course the current Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatра's government. Have you seen some difference between two prime ministers when you have engaged in the government with both administrations here, or?
Well, to answer your question in simple terms, I think the policy is quite similar, but the styles are different. As you know, Prime Minister Seta was coming from the business sector, and his way of doing things, I think, was inspired by his whole life as a businessman. So very practical, very result oriented, and this is also how he viewed the bilateral relation with France. It's not going to France just to talk to the president. It's also action oriented, and the best evidence of that is why did he make two visits? Because on the first visit in March last year, they agreed that we should do more in the business sector, and Prime Minister Seta said, okay, if we manage to have, let's say in 2 months' time, a business forum bringing together the top CEOs of our companies, I will come back to France and open this seminar. We made it happen.
That happened.
Yes. So just to show that he's very much result oriented. So of course, Prime Minister Paetongtarn, her style is different. She has maybe less experience. She's much younger. But we hope that because it's still early days, that we can build also with her and her government, the same good relations, to bring results for the bilateral relations. But I'm quite confident that we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, and I think Prime Minister Paetongtarn, of course, has still 2 more years to go, and these 2 years are very important between France and Thailand, and we can see how the results are going. You have a lot of experience in Asia Pacific. Right now, you're ambassador of France to Thailand. You were the ambassador to Cambodia, also the French representative to Taipei, and some experience in China and Japan too. How do you see the geopolitical issues, tension rising up in this region, no matter it's in Southeast Asia, we can see in South China Sea, or even in Myanmar, the border there. How do you see through, and what's the stance of France? What's the standpoint?
Yes, so when you're an ambassador, you're an observer of the political situation in the country, and also the geopolitical situation of the whole region. It happens that I served in Thailand also for the first time a long time ago, 35 years ago. So yes, I have seen many developments in this part of the world. It's no secret that the current geopolitical situation is dominated by the relationship between the two big players that are China and the US. And we are entering maybe a new era with a new American administration only in a few days, next week. And Thailand, has always tried to balance its relations between various players. This is what happened historically in this country. When we came, in the 19th century, the issue was for Siam was to balance between the UK and France in the context of colonial history. So I think that Thailand will try to avoid any consequences of possible tensions between China and the US. And the view from France is that we have now what we call an Indo-Pacific strategy, which was adopted in 2018, to remember the countries in the region that we are also a power of the Indo-Pacific, because we have territories in the Indian Ocean, in the Pacific. We have large French communities living in this area, and we have economic and security interests in the region. But this Indo-Pacific strategy is meant not to be confrontational. It's not against anyone, but it's to develop enhanced relationship with countries in the region, because working with France offers more options to the countries of the region. It's not like choosing between the U.S. and China, but working with a country like France, which is a member of the P5, a nuclear power, one of the major economies of the world, member of the European Union, and the European Union is also its Indo-Pacific strategy, which is very much aligned with the French one, with the same purpose. So we want to offer more options in terms of developing business, but also working on security and defense issues. So this is the general philosophy of the Indo-Pacific strategy. And within that strategy, there is maybe a more focused strategy related to ASEAN as such. Because ASEAN, we think, is a successful organization. It has a very strong convening power. There's a lot of talk about ASEAN centrality, but when you look at the way it works, it's true that ASEAN has the power to have all the other partners coming to the organization and talk about business, security. So we have decided to enhance also our relation with ASEAN. Our ambassador to Jakarta, where the Secretariat of ASEAN is located, is also our ambassador to ASEAN. And we are developing more and more projects with the not only the different countries, but with the association as such. So I think this is also a very promising trend. And our relation with Thailand, which is the second economy of ASEAN, is part of that strategy. So I hope that you will see more engagement from France, and our president has also started visiting a number of these countries, and he will probably continue to be active in this part of the world. So happy to be part of that.
Right. So you talk about the importance of ASEAN for France too, that focus, the strategy that actually President Macron also has the focus to come to this region to forge that collaboration with each country there. One part actually I want to ask, because actually came to this region for decades, you observation about the growth, the security, the tension here too. Do you think the issue right now, the geopolitical issues right now in the region is more complex than before? What do you think about that? Like since when you came to this region, 90s.
When I was here 35 years ago, the main issue in this part of the world was Cambodia.
Yeah.
Because Cambodia was an unsolved issue. Now, war was still going on. There was no peace agreement, and actually, I was here also at a time when we started the peace process. It was very, interesting and very rewarding, because we managed to sign the peace agreement in Paris in October 1991, and we had a lot of interactions with Thailand in those days. But Cambodia was a remnant of the Cold War issue, and this was the main issue. The second issue was maybe to integrate those new countries, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar into ASEAN, because it was only a 6-country organization then, and that was also successful in the late 1990s. And since then, there was the rise of China, which changed, the whole game in this part of the world, and some of the tensions that we see now are also related to this power game that is changed. And you still have localized conflicts like Myanmar, which is basically a civil war, which has an impact on its neighbors. So, of course, things are different, but you could say that the Myanmar problem now is the Cambodia problem of the time, and we need to find a way out.
Yeah, we need wisdom of leaders in the region to really see how to go through, because Myanmar issue right now is the focus really in ASEAN. That is the active military, of course, issues there that we can see. So of course, I think Thailand takes the charge for a few years, of course, to really want to find a resolution, but we haven't seen that. So it still might take some time there. As what you said, you came to Thailand for the first time. Of course, the diplomatic post here is in 1989. I'm right, 1989 to 1990, and right now it's 2025. This time is the second time as the ambassador post here. So what still impresses you a lot about Thailand now, this time since September 2023? What impresses you a lot?
I'm often asked the question, what is different from your first time, and the usual answer I give is that the hardware has changed a lot, and the urban landscape has changed dramatically. You cannot see that from where you are, but if you look at the river and across the river, there was no building on the other side, on Thonburi side. Now we have seen all these developments, and public transport is better. You have the metro, you have the BTS. So infrastructure has improved a lot. That's the hardware. But I think the software hasn't changed as much as the hardware. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think Thailand is a country very much attached to its traditions, and a country which has found a kind of balance between tradition and modernity. It may sound a bit cliche, it's often said also about Japan, but there are not many countries where you have this balance between the two. Of course, it may create some tensions because like young people, they may have different aspirations. They may be more detached from traditions. But overall, I think it's very, very nice to see all these traditions still alive in Thailand, that you can see all year round, on festivals and all kinds of festivals, because this is a very open and tolerant country. So you celebrate all festivals, of course all the Buddhist festivals, but Indian festival, Muslim festivals, Christian, everything. Maybe this is the Sanuk part of Thailand. Sanuk is still important. Sanuk and Sabai, the two S maybe.
Yeah, you learn a lot of Thai words right now, right? I think Sanuk and Sabai.
Important words.
Important words. Yeah, so that's why I think there's so many foreign tourists that come to this country, as in people-to-people connection there. The cultural inclusion in the country links to the festive events all around the year. Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador. I think you give us your wisdom and knowledge about, of course, France and Thailand's relations, collaboration, of course, geopolitical issues we talk about, and your experience in Thailand for the second time as an ambassador to come to Thailand too. Thank you so much for your time. The ambassador of France to Thailand, Jean-Claude Poimbeuf here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and happy to welcome you at the French residence with a lot of history.